Hi, my name is Nathalie Tarquet, and I am the CEO and co-founder of eBottle, which literally means electronic bottle. eBottle is an Australian company founded in 2019 with a simple but critical mission: how can we protect authentic products and the people who consume them in a world where counterfeiting has become industrialized? We work at the intersection of wine, technology, and trust, helping producers, distributors, and retailers move from claims to proof, from stories to verifiable data. Today, I want to talk to you about digital traceability, not as a tech trend, but as a business necessity and increasingly a public safety issue. Thank you for inviting me at the Winex tomorrow, the first international forum on wine, behavior, and innovation in Sao Paulo. Let me start with a simple question. How many times have you picked up a product, a bottle of wine, olive oil, honey, or luxury food item, and wondered, is this really what it claims to be? Because today, fraud is not an exception anymore. It's a system-level problem. According to multiple international food and wine industry reports, food fraud alone costs the global economy over $40 billion US every year. And wine is one of the most affected categories, especially premium and export markets. So the question is no longer, does fraud exist? The question is, how do we prove authenticity at scale? That's where digital traceability comes in. Let's clarify something important. Digital traceability is not just a QR code. It's not a marketing gimmick. And it's not just compliance. Digital traceability means giving every product a digital identity and recording its life story securely, step by step. In practice, that means where it was produced, when it was transformed, who handled it, where it traveled, and when it reached the consumer. All recorded digitally, time-stamped, and verifiable. Now, compare that to traditional tracking. Traditional tracking is paper logs, Excel spreadsheets, files stored in silo, often filled out after the fact, and almost never visible to the final buyer. So traditional tracking answers the question, do we have recourse? Digital traceability answers a much more powerful one, can we prove it instantly? Let me tell you a true story. In 2024, a group of travelers in Van Vienne, Laos, consumed trained alcohol that contained methanol, a highly toxic industrial alcohol. 6 tourists died, including 2 19-year-old Australians from Melbourne. This is a terrible example. For counterfeiting in general, somewhere between export and retail, bottles are refilled, labels are copied, and fake products enter the market. By the time the winery hears about it, the damage is already done. Angry consumers, lost trust, distributors pointing fingers, and no way to prove which bottles are real. This happens every day, especially for wine, spirits, olive oil, honey, luxury goods. Without digital traceability, the brand is blind. With digital traceability, each bottle has a unique digital ID. If the same code appears twice, fraud is detected. If a bottle appears in a country it was never shipped to, alarms go off. Fraud doesn't disappear, but it becomes visible, and visibility changes everything. This is not a future problem, it's a now problem. Recent industry coverage shows over 50% of consumers globally say they are willing to pay more for products with verified origin and transparency. In China and Southeast Asia, authenticity verification is often more important than price for imported wine. Regulators are increasing traceability requirements, especially for exports. In other words, consumers demand transparency, governments demand traceability, and brands that can't prove authenticity lose value. Now, let's flip the story. A small premium wine producer, not a big corporation, decides to implement digital traceability. Every bottle gets a unique digital ID at bottling, records vineyard, vintage, and production data, is scanned at each step of distribution. In the wine shop, the consumer scans the bottle. They see the winemaker's name, the vineyard location, the story of the vintage, and proof that this bottle is authentic. What happened next? Retailers report faster buying decisions, fewer questions, more confidence. The producer reports stronger brand perception, better positioning in export markets, and justification for a higher price point. Same wine, same quality, more value because of trust. This is the key message. Trust is not emotional, it's economic. Digital traceability creates value in 3 concrete ways. The first one, the brand protection. Counterfeits destroy brands slowly and silently. Traceability protects reputation before damage occurs. Secondly, premium positioning. Verifying origin allows producers to move from trust me to here's is a proof, and proof sells premium. And third, it's a confidence at point of sale. When authenticity is clear, buyers hesitate less. Sales cycles shorten. Loyalty increases. Trust turns transparency into revenue. Let me leave you with this. In the past, stories were enough, then certification became necessary. Today, verification is expected. Digital traceability is not about technology, it's about protecting value, telling the truth, and proving authenticity. Because in today's market, what you can't prove, you can't protect. Thank you very much. Don't hesitate if you want to contact me on LinkedIn or ask me some question by email, nathalie.tarquet@ebotly.com.